The King of France at the turn of the 14th century was known as an uncommonly handsome man. He was called Philippe le Bel, the Beautiful. Philip the Beautiful. An ironic epithet for a king of Gothic pitilessness. Because of the French king's constant financial problems, relations between Paris and Rome had degenerated into a ludicrous state of affairs. The Beautiful had exhausted all the usual medieval methods for balancing the books. He had stolen all the property that he could. He had arrested all the Jews and taken their wealth. He had devalued his currency. So as a last resort, he tried to tax the church. But Pope Boniface VIII was a fat and dissolute pontiff. One contemporary described him as nothing but eyes and tongue in a holy, putrefying body, a devil. The Beautiful himself openly referred to him as your fatuity, but Boniface knew the rules of the game as well. And this is the true story, ladies and gentlemen, of the Beauty and the Beast. And the end of the story is the hopeful reunion between all of these warring factions, some beautiful, some ugly, but absolutely necessary to bring the world together into one. The Beautiful himself openly referred to him as your fatuity. Can you imagine that? Calling the Pope such a name? In retaliation for France's new fiscal arrangements, the Pope issued a dictum forbidding the taxation of the clergy. And here you have a rock and a hard spot. So the Beautiful closed French borders to the exportation of gold bullion, cutting off Rome's transalpine money supply. And to rub it in, he arrested the Bishop of Pamiers and charged him with blasphemy, sorcery, and fornication. And you know what? At least some of it was probably true. So the Pope issued a bull condemning the arrest and revoked some of the Beautiful's papal privileges. Well, Philippe le Bel burned his copy of the bull in public. And folks, for those of you who don't understand all of this, a bull is not an animal with horns here. A bull issued by the Pope is an order, as a matter of fact, an edict, if you will. The Pope, in turn, delivered a stinging sermon filled with ominous warnings that the church was a creature with one head, not a monster with two. And the Beautiful issued charges in absentia against the Pope himself, alleging blasphemy, sorcery, and sodomy. Fornication wasn't big enough for the Pope, had to be sodomy. The Pope, in turn, excommunicated the Beautiful. Now that's a real serious thing in those days, folks. He compared the French to dogs and hinted that they lacked souls. His nuncios leaked a rumor that the pontiff might well excommunicate the entire country. Sound a little like your children at play in the backyard? The peasants were stirred by such threats, and the Beautiful quickly grasped that revolution was a better future to them than excommunication, so he acted fast, dispatching an army to Anagni, where the Pope was staying. He placed the 86-year-old pontiff under house arrest. The locals, however, managed to save him, but a month later Boniface passed away. Some allege that he succumbed to shock at the outrage. Beautiful returned to his economic problems. His wife died in 1305, and since he no longer would have to kiss a woman's lips, he applied for membership in the Knights Templar. The permanent Knights of the Paris Temple may have suspected that his intentions were less than pious and did something almost unspeakable. They blackballed the king. Now, in case you don't know what that means, even today in the Masonic Lodge, when a member or when a profane is proposed for membership by one of the order, All of the members are given 2 little balls, one white and one black. And a box is passed around amongst the membership. And folks, when the box is opened, if there is one black ball in the box, the candidate cannot be admitted for initiation into the order or into the lodge. So apparently, Philippe le Bel received at least one black ball in the box when the Templars passed the box around the membership, for they blackballed the king. Now, you don't just blackball a king. The following year, the Grand Master of the Knights Templar, Jacques de Molay, returned to Europe from the Mediterranean in a show of luxury. He was accompanied by 60 knights in a baggage train of mules laden with gold and jewels. And around that time, the Beautiful was more desperate than ever to solve his messy state finances. He tripled the price of everything in France overnight. An open rebellion broke out in the streets. Rioters threatened to kill him. He fled to the Parisian temple and begged the knights for protection. Oh, how humiliating. So in the fall of 1307, Philippe le Bel, the Beautiful, arranged a state action impressive even in these days of data highways and rapid deployment teams, because this is something that is so difficult to pull off. On September 14th, he mass mailed a set of sealed orders to every bailiff, seneschal, deputy, and officer in his entire kingdom. The functionaries were forbidden under penalty of death to open the papers before Thursday night, October the 12th. The following Friday morning, October the 13th, alert to their secret instructions, armies of officials slipped out of their barracks. By sundown, nearly all the Knights Templar throughout France were in jails. One estimate puts the arrest at 2,000, another as high as 5,000. Only 20 actually escaped from France. The initial charges were vague, but they didn't sound good. A bitter thing, a lamentable thing, a horrible to think of and terrible to hear. A detestable crime they were accused of, an execrable evil, an abominable act, a repulsive disgrace, a thing almost inhuman, indeed alien to all humanity, has, thanks to the reports of several trustworthy persons, reached our ear, smiting us grievously and causing us to tremble with the utmost horror. What followed was so foul, according to folklore, that Templar sympathizers cursed the day itself, condemning it as evil, Friday the 13th, whose reputation, ladies and gentlemen, has never recovered. And because of it, and because of the torture that followed, worked upon the Templars in their captivity, and the eventual burning at the stake, of almost all of them, including their Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, the Templars who had fled France, and all of the Templars who were residing or traveling or happened to find themselves in other countries at the time, went underground, moved into the various fraternal orders that existed at that time, rose to the top and took them over.